Greetings, everybody. Welcome to Musical Connections. And Churchill Park is coming up on Friday, July 25th. And by the time that you're hearing or seeing this, it'll be tomorrow. And the bill for Friday night is absolutely stacked. There is Haywire. There is the Sam Roberts Band, which we featured yesterday. And Def Leppard are the headliners. And right before them, you're going to be hearing these guys, glam metal icons of the 1980s and still going strong today. And they're also putting out a new album by the time you're hearing this week. Right now, we're talking with the one of the principal songwriters, founding members, lead singers of Honeymoon Suite, Derry Grehan. How you doing, buddy?
I'm good, man. How are you today, this morning, whatever time it is?
I am absolutely phenomenal, and thank you so much again for doing this. And I said yesterday when I put out the Sam Roberts interview, this is one of my biggest interviews today, but you guys, when it comes to glam metal icons of the 1980s, you guys are right up there at the top of the list.
Glam metal. Well, I wouldn't go that far. We weren't metal and we weren't too glam, but we were like more the big hair, melodic rock bands, whatever you want to call it. We were in there with all the great bands of the 80s, and what a great time that was. Yes.
Oh, for sure. And amongst you guys, you had like big acts there, like Bryan Adams. You had Loverboy on the go as well, too. And Glass Tiger were just on the go as well around the same time that you guys were on the go. 1980s was like a big time for Canadian music.
Yeah, it sure was. We got lucky, man, coming in at the right time with the right songs, the video channels, Much Music and MTV were just starting up and exploding. So we we jumped on that train at the great time. So much great music and bands.
For sure.
The.
For sure. And those were like really big parts of why bands like yourselves have really stayed so successful, but also maintained a reliable touring presence and are really like one of the big icons coming out of Canadian music in the 80s and going strong still to this day. Now, you're going to be playing here at the Churchill Park Music Festival coming up on July 25th. You're going to be joining the same bill as legendary Prince Edward Island rock band Haywire. You also got the Sam Roberts Band, a legendary band of alternative rock from the 2000s. And as I said, as you mentioned, you said you weren't really hair metal, but more of like melodic kind of new wave album-oriented rock type sound of the 1980s. But you're going to be joining glam metal icons Def Leppard on the same stage as well. Now, when you guys were both on the go and really at your peaks, you didn't really cross paths or like played on the same stage. And we were talking off the air here. This is your first time playing with them on the same stage. So how excited are you to be coming back to St. John's and at the same time sharing the stage with Def Leppard?
Yeah. Yeah. It's exciting. I've seen them two or three times. And over the years. But first time playing with them, I'm a big fan, great guitar players and great songs. So I'm looking forward to seeing their set for sure. I'm glad that we're on the bill, and that's one band that we never played with back in the day. But there are so many bands, and can't play with everybody. But here we are.
So back in the 80s, who were some of those bands that you did play with? Do you have any that come to mind?
Well, yeah, I mean, we were out on the road for months we were out with Heart, ZZ Top, 38 Special, Saga, Bryan Adams, Billy Idol, The Tubes, The Kinks, Journey, you name it, man. We played with a lot of people. It was great.
For sure. Now, you were actually in St. John's not too long ago, actually. You did a little private show at the Jack Soundhouse, one of the best theaters and best new venues here in St. John's for entertainment. And the guys, John Steele and Sean Bash, have done a really good job with. What was it like coming back to St. John's last month and also playing that show to that beautiful new venue?
Yeah, well, we've been coming. We played many times over. We always love coming back to St. John's, and we stayed at the Jag many times. We know John John Steele very well, and it's such a cool hotel. But the last couple of years we've been coming, they've been building this thing beside it, and every time we come back, it's a little more, it's a little more, a little higher. And I'm like, are they ever going to finish this thing? And then we come back this time, it's finished, it's open. So it's a hotel on top and this great theater in the bottom. So it was cool to come back and see the finished product and play, in that theater. It's awesome.
Yeah, I got to be there for the East Coast Music Awards just about a few months ago and seen some showcase acts there. It's absolutely gorgeous, and it's going to be great for like major acts to come here. I mean, you had Collective Soul come here back in March. Alan Doyle played there. You have Georgie Kiefer coming there in September. It's just going to be another great venue for many of the other venues that you've played throughout your career. Like back in the 80s, I would imagine you played a fair bit at Memorial Stadium. You played Kitty Vitty Park back in the day when I think that's now like a complex, sports complex now.
George Street Festival, um, Iceberg, all of it, man. Um, we'll come back again and again as long as you'll have us.
And we're very lucky to have you guys year after year after year. So I want to take you back to when you first came here to Newfoundland and Labrador. Do you have like a recollection of the first time you played here in Newfoundland?
No, I can't remember. Too much screech, I guess. But seriously, the first time we came there was, well, it would have been in the 80s, probably for like is that Memorial Gardens? That's your arena there at the time or whatever. I'm sure we came through with, on the first and second albums. I can't remember. It's been so many times, but it's always been fun. It's the people, man. It's the people there. It's different, than the rest of the country. Very friendly and open, and yeah, it's great.
For sure. Now, when you when we were talking a little bit earlier about how you guys came at the right time when all the big Canadian content acts that were coming out at the time, like Tom Cochrane and Red Rider, you had Loverboy and Bryan Adams, you had Saga, and also you had like guys like Frozen Ghosts that were on the go as well. The Tragically Hip were just starting to come on the scene in the late '80s when you guys had songs like Love Changes Everything and Bad Attitude, and you guys were like really. I've said you're icons of the 1980s, and you've maintained that like legendary status with all the tours and shows you've had here since. So, how did this all start for you, Derry, when it came to forming the Honeymoon Suite?
Um, Actually, Johnny D started the band about 6 months before I came in the picture, and I met him. He, they were like just cover band, and I was looking for a gig. We were both living in Toronto, and I was searching around for another gig so I could eat. And the booking agent that booked Johnny was also booking me in other bands, and he put the two of us together. When I called him up one day and I said, do you know any bands looking for a guitar player? So I met Johnny and I played, we jammed and I played him some original songs, and he liked what he heard, and we decided to work together. And then from that point, we started to put the rest of the band together. With Johnny had a different set of people initially. People were coming and going, and once him and I solidified our relationship and what we wanted to do, we started to build the band.
And you guys ended up using the Q104, 107 radio. I think 107 is probably in Nova Scotia. But the Q stations that were there at the time and still exist today, you guys relied heavily on those like stations to really get you guys some exposure there. So
Especially Q107 in Toronto, that's kind of where we got a huge break with the homegrown. We sent a demo of New Girl Now in for their contest, and it won that year, I don't know, 82, 83, which eventually led to a record deal. So, yeah.
It's crazy to believe that, like, just sending that one demo, like, changed your lives forever. And you had massive hits since then. What do you remember about those days back in the 80s? And do you have any, like, memories that stick out in your mind of, what life was like back then?
Oh, millions of memories, man. It's just everything, we're after two years in the bars in Northern Ontario playing cover songs, all of a sudden record deal and tours and tour buses and going through America and headlining, tours in Canada. Just so much was happening so quickly. Um, I don't know. There's so many great memories. But John and I and the rest of the boys, we had a vision. We worked towards it, and I was writing songs like crazy, and things just clicked. We got real lucky.
For sure. Now, what's your process like for putting together those big hits and like especially the songs that you're writing today? Like, what's your process like for songwriting?
It's usually with me, it starts with just practicing, which I do every day. I just pick up the guitar and I play. I try and get a couple hours in every just play for enjoyment. And out from that, riffs and chord progressions will just kind of pop out of nowhere. And I'll hear a melody and I'll think, wow, that could be a great chorus, or this could be a cool verse. So that's really a lot of the times where the songs start with me, when I know I've got a riff that's really good, and then from there I'll build it. I'll put it together, and I'll, do my organizing of verses and chorus, kind of map it all out. And then from there, there's melodies that have to go over top. And then finally, lyrics, which is just a bunch of babbling at first. But out of that, comes some key hook lines or whatever. And once I've got the concept or the subject of the song, then I'm off to the races. Then I can write the rest of the lyric, once I know what I'm talking about.
And you do definitely practice every day. I mean, you can tell from like if you're seeing this on YouTube and stuff, you got your own little home studio there. And I think a lot of musicians these days have their own home studios because, like back in the day, you guys would all have to really like meet at like one of those major studios in Toronto or in Montreal or something to help craft your songs. But now, with the way technology has evolved, you can like send off like a little vocal track or a guitar track, send it off to a producer, and then you don't really have to meet in the studio. You can just record from wherever you like, and boom, you got a song.
Yeah, it's changed completely from back in the day when we had tape machines, and yes, we had to go to a studio. So now it's all Pro Tools and digital, which is great. This is really great, to be able to record at home really high quality stuff and not pay $1,500 a day for a studio. Send some files around. It's great, very convenient, and saves a lot of time. However, I do miss the old school days, going in a studio with your buddies. It's four or five of us setting up, playing together and recording together. There's no substitute for that. It's a certain feel and sound you get when you're actually in a room playing with other people. So we still try and do that.
Absolutely, like that. There's nothing that replaces that face-to-face interaction and being together with your friends and really hammering down songs together as a group instead of coming in one at a time or just doing stuff from your own home studios and then making a song. Like,
it's not the same because we're a band, we're a live band. We're not
exactly.
like one guy with, a piece and piece it together after the fact. We're a live band. We always have been for 40 years. When you play together live, there's that spontaneity and there's little accidents and mistakes that happen that end up being really cool.
Oh, absolutely. Now, you're talking about like how like the way you're recording music these days is very, very convenient, but also doesn't replace that live aspect that you guys enjoy so much. How much do you think music has evolved from when you guys came up in the 1980s to what music is today? What are your thoughts on that?
Well, there's no feel on all the stuff that's on the charts now, the pop stuff, the younger stuff. It's all computer music, most of it. It's all perfect. It's perfect. The vocals are perfectly in tune because they've been auto-tuned. The drums and everything, that's all a computer. Most of the instruments are computers. Everything is so sterile and slick sounding, and it's got no feel to me. You can tell there aren't people playing together. Very little of it, anyways. So that's fine. That's the state of the business. But I'm old school. I want to hear a band, I want to hear a band that's playing. So that's the difference for me.
Yeah, for sure. And social media has definitely taken a big a bigger role in determining what's a hit song and what's not. I mean, like a lot of the hit songs you see these days are on TikTok, and that's really one of the biggest influences of determining what's a hit and what's not.
Yeah, I know. Well, that's the age we live in. That's social media. That's the way it is. But you can grumble about it and wish for the old days, or you can embrace it and use it to your advantage. The good thing about it is we can put something out. We'll have a new album coming out, I think, tomorrow, and that'll be released worldwide it'll be on Spotify, it'll be on TikTok, Facebook, and Instagram. We can talk about it, and everybody will know, and they can instantly hear the music, and we're reaching such a massive audience. And so it's good. You can use that to your advantage. Yeah, it's good like that.
Yeah, what I also think was really cool too about, the influence of TikTok, it's allowed some older songs to really, come back from, the relevance of back in like the say the 60s or 70s. A good example of this is Pretty Little Baby from the late Connie Francis. A lot of people were like, doing TikToks of them, like trying out clothes and stuff and had Connie Francis in the background. And it was really cool to see people use TikTok like that to help those songs find a whole new audience and a whole new generation of people to, go enjoy Connie Francis or go enjoy Kate Bush with all the success she had with Stranger Things. And I think also too, when it comes to how you can really make money in music nowadays, a lot of that, from what I've talked with through many of the musicians I've had on this show, is through sync placements. And you guys have had some massive sync placements, like on Miami Vice with the song, I believe it was Bad Attitude, or Lethal Weapons. That was the song that was featured on Miami Vice. Yeah, like it's good. Like TikTok and stuff is good for determining what a hit song is and what's not, but it can also bring some of those old songs that you may have forgotten about back from the dead, really.
Yeah, well, the Kate Bush thing is a perfect example. I mean, I loved her in the 80s. I had that album and I listened to her a lot. And then this song was out on Stranger Things. And people, what is it? They think she's a new artist because that song it's timeless. It's a thing about great music. And we're lucky that we have a bit of that, especially in Canada with all the airplay we're still getting with all the hits 40 years later. You know, to me, the songs are everything. That's why people come to the shows. The songs, if you're lucky to have those, what they call evergreens, ones that just go on forever, then that's why we're still here and still making new music. And you're right, it's hard to sell albums these days. We don't sell very many albums except at the live shows, but we still make music because we have a core base of fans that demand it, and we just love to write and make music. So there's also, like you say, sync placements in movies and stuff. We've got a lot of music out there in the last 10 or 20 years on a few albums that people generally haven't heard, but it's out there. So you never know what's going to happen.
Absolutely. And it's just really amazing to see, like, how music has evolved, not just for the bad, but also for the good as well. And like sync placements, again, like are a really big way of like, making money nowadays. And also, I find that a lot of people now are going back to vinyl, and you guys were like part of an era where like vinyl was just starting to go a bit down in sales, where CDs are coming up, and now vinyls are going back up, CDs are going down again.
Yeah. Oh, it's great. I love that vinyl's back. My kids are into vinyl. It's great to see the younger generation, if you will. My son especially, he's 27, and he's got hundreds of albums and a beautiful turntable. He's totally into it. All his favorite indie bands put out vinyl, so it's really great. It's really a great thing. I'm glad it's coming back because there's nothing like it. And honestly, when you put it, it does sound better. I've got a turntable here too, and I've got some vinyl. I'm building my collection back up. When I put on a record as opposed to a CD or a MP3 off of Spotify, there is a difference, man. I hear things that I don't hear on a CD. It's really it, the sound. It's got more depth. It's got more clarity. The spectrum, the stereo spectrum, is more apparent. I can't can't compare to vinyl to anything. It just sounds better.
Oh, 100%. Now, your your music has remained timeless for 40 years and counting. I mean, like when it comes to our classic rock station here, K Rock, we play you guys all the time. And I'm a volunteer with VOWR myself, and I have a show, a classic kids show that I play you guys a lot all the time as well. Um, Off the top of your head here, Derry, what song do you feel like has gotten the most play on those stations 40 years going? What do you feel like is your number one song that you feel like has been played the most?
Well, I don't know. Like statistically, it's probably there's New Girl Now and Feel It Again, and as you mentioned earlier, Love Changes Everything. I don't know, man. Like all of them, Stay in the Light, Wave Babies. They all get a ton. The number one I would say would be everywhere would be New Girl Now overall,
Yeah.
followed by Feel It Again. I mean, those are big hits, and they keep on coming.
Feel It Again, I actually heard on the Hockey Night in Canada Stanley Cup Finals package after like hearing for like months of Lay It on the Line by Triumph. Triumph's another band from like the 80s, 70s and 80s that really were part of that, like, new wave glam metal kind of sound that dominated radios back then.
Yeah, the playoffs that was really cool. I live in the States, so I wasn't getting the same feed, but I was definitely watching. That was the Oilers and Panthers, I believe, and I was really rooting for them. And my friends called me up after the first game and said, "Man, they played Feel It Again like 5, 6 times last night on the commercial breaks or whatever." And then it went on for the whole series. So that was a really great. That was great, to revive that, let people, maybe we made some new fans. I don't know, but that was really cool.
Well, I think it's because of streaming and especially like volunteering at VOWR and watching Hockey Night in Canada. And I'm a Montreal Canadiens fan myself. It was great to hear songs like that get a whole new life and be introduced to a whole new generation of listeners that may not have heard of Honeymoon Suite or may not have heard of Red Rider or Triumph or something like that. It makes them just want to go and figure out, hey, what's that song I heard on those commercial breaks? I'm gonna go look it up on Spotify or Apple Music. Like it's amazing to see that you guys are still like going strong and relevant after all these years.
Well, it's a good advertisement when something like that is on a TV like that. You're reaching a massive audience, and a lot of people may not know who the band is, but they recognize the song or the part of it, or they go and they look for it. So we may have got a whole bunch of new fans now. That's what it's all about. Just discovering, you know, discovering a new band. If you're a younger person, it's a lot of great music.
Absolutely. Now, your guys are going to be coming back to Newfoundland and Labrador July 25th, which is by the time we're going to be dropping this, is going to be tomorrow. You're going to be joining the same bill as Haywire, Sam Roberts Band, and of course, headliners Def Leppard. For people who haven't seen a Honeymoon Suite show yet, what can they expect?
Well, it's gonna be great. I mean, you know, it's a great live band. We love what we do still, and they're going to get all the hits. Where we've been lucky to have such a great catalog that we can go up there and do an hour or 90 minutes. So they're going to hear all the songs that they know and love, and maybe one or two new ones and some other stuff and craziness going on. And it's going to be fun. It's a great show.
Now, this is not going to be your last stop here in Newfoundland and Labrador. We were talking off the air here. You're coming back here in September?
I think it's September 6th, somewhere called Summerside, up near, is it Gander or Corner Brook area of the country or of the island? Yeah, we're doing a festival up there in September.
Well, Newfoundland and Labrador did used to be a country, but yeah, we're a province now. But like, who knows? We could become a country again with everything that's going on in the world.
Yeah, break away, man.
Now, I keep mentioning this. You guys have been here to Newfoundland and Labrador many times. What haven't you done in Newfoundland yet, Derry?
What haven't I done?
Yeah, like, have you've been screeched in? You've seen the icebergs. You've been on boat tours. You've attended all the restaurants. You've been at the pubs here. What haven't you done?
Well, I haven't, every time I go there, we're staying down by the, the water, the harbor there. And I look up at that tower way up in the hill there. I don't know what you call it,
Signal
the old
Hill?
stone Signal Hill. I've always said, man, one day I'm gonna walk up there. But it looks kind of far and it looks kind of high. I don't know if people do that, but one day I'm telling myself I'm gonna take a hike. Can you walk up there from downtown?
Yes, you can. You can just like park your car down near the Battery Cafe and then just go for a nice hike up there.
Yeah, I'm gonna do that one of these days.
There's also the Signal Hill tattoo that's just before the hill itself, and you can walk up there too. There's a nice trail out there as well.
All right. And have never gone deep sea fishing out of the harbor there.
You should consider going to Bay Bowls if you have more time coming here. But we could be here all day talking about what you can do in Newfoundland and Labrador. But for people who want to find out more about Honeymoon Suite and new music you guys got coming out, where can they go?
New music, um, you go to Honeymoon Suite's Facebook, Honeymoon Suite on Instagram. I don't know what the handle is, but you can find it. We're on TikTok. And of course, Spotify and all the other streaming services. Um, all of our stuff is there. We've already put up one or two new singles on Spotify from the new album. We pre-released them. So all of that stuff is up there. Go to Spotify. Everything is there. And you can also buy the album. It's there too. If you go to, I think a site is called Manic Merch or Vision Merch. That's our new company that we're working with. You go on there. They've got pre-sales of the new album as well.
That's one thing I always encourage whenever I have any guest here to buy the music. Streaming can be good for exposure, but buying music can put money in your guys' pockets and it'll do you wonders.
Yeah, well, that's the problem these days. I was talking earlier about embracing the technology, which is good, but unfortunately, music is kind of free now, which doesn't help me or the other songwriters and stuff. I mean, it's great, but it's unfortunate that people can just get anything they want for free. So yes, buy the album.
Absolutely. One last question here, Derry, before I let you go. If there's one word or phrase to describe your career and the legacy of Honeymoon Suite, what would that be and why?
A phrase to describe our career?
Word or phrase?
Word or phrase? Um, Word or phrase? Just grateful, I guess. We are grateful for where we are from when we started, that we're still doing what we do and doing these shows, and it just keeps on going. I would say grateful.
Well, Derry Grehan, you are the lead singer of Honeymoon Suite, one of the founding members of Honeymoon Suite, and you guys are still going strong to this day. I cannot wait to see you at Churchill Park tomorrow when you guys play on the same bill as Haywire, Sam Roberts Band, and Def Leppard. Thanks again for doing this.
Yes, but I'm not the lead singer.
Oh, you're not? Johnny D is?
Yes, let's be clear there. I'm the lead guitarist and a main songwriter, but no, I wish I was. Johnny D's our lead singer.
Oh man, that's my bad.
Yeah.
But you have wrote
Well,
some.
yeah, never mind.
But you have wrote some of the biggest hits, and we can't wait to hear some more of those when you come here tomorrow. Thanks for doing this again.
Thank you.